This is part 4 of memorizing the unit circle. In this video, you will learn how to memorize the ordered pairs of the circle. As you can see, this is the unit circle with radian measurements and degree measurements and the ordered pairs. It can be overwhelming when you look at it as a whole, but there are some very simple patterns that we can memorize in order to make memorization of the entire unit circle very straightforward and simple. You should already have watched parts 1, 2, and 3 of this video series in which we memorized the radian measurements and the degree measurements of the unit circle. Now let's focus on the ordered pairs. Because this is the unit circle, the radius of the circle, as the name unit implies, is 1. So this point on the Cartesian plane is the point 1, 0. Likewise, up here, we have x equals 0 and y equals 1. Over here at pi, or 180 degrees, we're at the point negative 1, 0. And down here at 270 degrees, or 3 pi over 2, we're at the point 0, negative 1. These are easy enough to memorize, but what about the values in between? Let's first look at our x-coordinates. Note that we have a 0 here at pi over 2, and down here at 0 degrees, or 0 radians, we have a measurement of x is equal to 1. The first thing we do is we write down the numbers 1, 2, and 3. And we know that we're going to write them in ascending order from the number 0 to the number 1. So in other words, 0, 1, 2, 3, and then the number 1. The next step is to put all three numbers under the radical. So you have the square root of 1, the square root of 2, and then the square root of 3. The next step is to divide all of these numbers by 2. So we have the square root of 1 over 2, the square root of 2 over 2, and then the square root of 3 over 2. Now you might think and notice that the square root of 1 is simply 1, so the last thing we can do is simplify these ordered pairs. We have just found the x values of the ordered pairs in the first quadrant. Let's look at the y values. Notice here I have a 0 down at the positive x-axis, and then up here at 90 degrees I have 1. So I want to write the numbers 1, 2, and 3 in ascending order, going from 0 up to 1. Like before, the next thing that I do is to put each of these numbers under the radical. Then I divide all of them by 2. Finally, I can simplify the square root of 1 and just write 1. These are the y values of the ordered pairs in the first quadrant. Now let's put all of this information together to find the ordered pairs on the unit circle. So, for pi over 6, or 30 degrees, we have an x value of the square root of 3 over 2 and a y value of 1/2. At pi over 4, we have the square root of 2 over 2 and the square root of 2 over 2. Then at pi over 3, we have x is equal to 1/2 and y is equal to the square root of 3 over 2. Another way to remember this is to think of there being a triangle right here. And if you look at your x value is clearly longer than your y value. So if you look at these numbers and you know that one of them has to be x and one of them has to be y, you can just ask yourself which one is larger. Clearly the square root of 3 is larger than 1, so therefore the square root of 3 over 2 has to be the x value of this triangle, and the y value is the smaller value, which is 1/2. Now that we've mapped out the ordered pairs for the first quadrant, let's figure out how we can figure out the ordered pairs for the other three quadrants. So in the second quadrant, you have symmetry. So you have the same ordered pairs that correspond to these ordered pairs here. However, the only difference is your x values will be negative. So here, instead of 1/2 the square root of 3 over 2, you have negative 1/2 and the square root of 3 over 2. Likewise here, you have negative square root of 2 over 2 and the square root of 2 over 2, which corresponds to this angle over here. And then at 5 pi over 6, we have negative square root of 3 over 2, 1/2, which corresponds to pi over 6. Let's look at the third quadrant. In the third quadrant, both the x and y values must be negative. So 7 pi over 6 gives us negative square root of 3 over 2 and negative 1/2, which corresponds here to 5 pi over 6, and also up here at pi over 6. Then we have negative square root of 2 over 2 and negative square root of 2 over 2, which corresponds to the same ordered pairs at 3 pi over 4 and pi over 4, and again the only thing that's changed is the sign of the x and y values. And then likewise at 4 pi over 3 we have negative 1/2 and negative square root of 3 over 2, which corresponds to the ordered pairs at 2 pi over 3 and at pi over 3. Lastly, in our fourth quadrant, only the y values are negative, so we have 1/2 and the negative square root of 3 over 2, which corresponds to these three other ordered pairs. Then we have square root of 2 over 2 and negative square root of 2 over 2. And then we have the square root of 3 over 2 and negative 1/2. If we want to put these all together to memorize them, the easiest way to write them out is to write down all of the ordered pairs that are corresponding, and as you move from quadrant to quadrant, simply change the signs. So here I've started with pi over 4. It's the easiest to remember since your x and y values are the same value regardless of the sign. So over here in the first quadrant we have square root of 2 over 2, square root of 2 over 2. In the second quadrant, of course, our x value is negative. In the third quadrant, both x and y values are negative. And then in the fourth quadrant, your y value is negative while your x value is positive. Next, I filled out the pi over 6 multiples. So we have square root of 3 over 2 and 1/2. Okay, likewise, in the other quadrants, you have the same magnitude, and you just have to change your signs accordingly. And finally, if we use the multiples of pi over 3, we have 1/2 square root of 3 over 2, and we fill those out in the other three quadrants, simply changing the signs of the ordered pairs. This concludes the video, part 4 of memorizing the unit circle.